All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of Gotta Be Legend Live, Gotta Be Legend TV here on YouTube. Today, of course, we're going to go ahead and have a very special episode, right? It's a topic that is very, very controversial to some and very popular to others. Of course, this is a gamer's opinion. This is episode 11. And today we're going to be talking about why we think NFTs in video games is a bad idea. And today we're going to be joined, of course, by our good friend Sephirothevil. He'll be joining us shortly, and we're going to go ahead and discuss this. So if you're watching, feel free to go ahead and share your opinions. If you're in favor of it, if you're against it, we're interested in hearing different opinions. Obviously, we're not experts. We're no expert in regards to this topic, but it is a topic that does draw a lot of attention, right? Especially lately with different reports from Ubisoft, right? Also, Stalker 2 recently having, that decision to remove NFTs from their game. So it's becoming a popular topic. And so we want to go ahead and discuss that and why we think, right, of course, it's bad for games. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and join up with Sephra. All right, Sephra, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? How's everything been?
It's been going. Same old thing, different day.
That's cool, bro. What's new, man? Anything new?
Nothing much here. Just replying here to some posts. Putting some memes up. The usual.
Yeah. You can never go wrong with memes, bro. Speaking of memes, right? I know you've referred to a lot of cryptocurrencies, right, as meme coins. And
Yeah.
so, since you have, what do you think about this topic, man? I know it's a very controversial topic, right? A lot of people are against it, and
Yeah.
of course, it's part of that whole influx, right, of interest in crypto, right? And then of course these meme coins like Doge, and I'm sure there's other ones out there. I'm not really into that, but I do know that they start off very small, and of course they have a very interesting logo, very appealing logo, and then next thing you know, everybody's on that train. So being that we know about meme coins, right, what people know them as, how do you feel about NFTs? Is it like a meme as well, or what's your opinion on it, bro?
I think the whole it's. I see it as if you catch it in a good time, you're gonna profit. So with the meme coin stuff, I noticed that like last week they just blew up. I mean, there's a new coin or coins like appearing out of nowhere with these companies that nobody even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon because they might they might be the next cool coin to pull your money in and stuff. Because how usually people are getting rich is they have to get in there early.
Right.
And if you buy like a $500,000 worth of this stupid token or coin, then eventually other people are gonna go and put their money in it. Then eventually you cash out. So that's basically what's inflating basically the money. It's not a new concept, but a lot of cats are trying to bring this up as something brand new, something it's just hype right now because it's just trending. And regarding the NFT, man, I think it's just a sinkhole. It's just so you can waste those imaginary the meme coins. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
you have to put them somewhere. So where else do you put them? Well, you buy one of these JPEGs or whatever of any random, I guess. How can I put this? Whatever someone creates, because there was actually a really good saying. Someone just said it like just 3 days ago. What this NFT is worth is what the next guy is willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it, man. I mean, there's no value to it. There's no structure or there's nothing. It's not backed by gold or silver. Nothing. It's just a digital item that eventually, if that server goes down, well, there goes your $1 million picture of someone's Johnson or whatever. So I mean, that's the thing. But I think also a lot of people are using it for tax invention, to evade taxes and stuff.
Do you think it has
And
something to
that
do maybe with a little bit with money laundering?
could be also as well. It could be also because usually a lot of people are not aware, but big government. There's something called uh, what was it called? Something of the arts. There's a program. Maybe you can look it up and add it later on your description and stuff. But there's a way that these people can move art around and avoid tax thing, like tax payments and stuff. And they can move their art around and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they can say, well, this art piece is worth like 0.5 million, and they move it around, and that wealth transfers into that item itself, and they move it to another country, and then you don't have to pay tax on it. But that item, someone already bought, like someone can buy it for like 1.5 because that's what you're saying it's worth.
Right.
So you move that asset somewhere else, to another country, holds on to it, and then you put it as a loss, like you
Mm-hmm.
lost 1.5. You just sold it for someone for $1 or whatever. Who cares? You put it as a loss, and then eventually, when the whole tax thing is done, you bring it back, you get your money back, you sell it, you do whatever, and you get your 1.5 back. Some crap like that. It sounds super sketchy. It sounds stupid as hell, but that's what's trending on the NFT stuff. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing on that. That's why these experts are teaching these younger cats. Like, hey, this is how you avoid your taxes, so you don't have to pay them. And I get it. Paying tax sucks, man. I think it's a joke, but I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's a
if
whole
you
nother
don't,
subject too about whether it's
yeah,
legal or not and all that other stuff as
right,
well.
exactly, man. It gets controversial even deeper. I mean, see, like the rabbit hole gets deeper, man. The more you talk about it, it just opens more can of worms. It's like walking on mine or eggshells. But
Mm-hmm.
how I feel about it, from what I understand, from what I've seen, and the trends and all this stuff, man. It for me personally, just me, because I'm no like professional wealth expert or anything, but I don't like it. I think it's way too much risky. You might as well just throw your money in some RIA or something, and let it grow
Mm-hmm.
that way. I mean, it takes a year to get like about 9 to 10 grand, but I mean, at least you're not like losing a tons of money, like because these companies, these meme companies, all they need is a Discord, a website, some flashy stuff that attracts people.
Mm-hmm.
Trendy stuff like one of your articles has a picture of like Master Chief's helmet as
Right.
NFTs, and and uh, that attracts people, and people fall into it. They put their money into it, and next thing you know, that company can just disappear. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't sue them or anything. I mean, 'cause if they're in China, who are you going to sue? How are you going to go?
Right.
You're going to go over there and try to army of to it and go out there and try to get your money back? No, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah, and then not
So
only that, I mean, they can easily take your your image, right? Because IP laws out there are just way different, right? So
right,
and
yeah,
it's funny you mentioned it about the value, right? People just give it whatever value they want. Because it sort of reminds me of what's going on in the sneaker community, right?
mhm,
Obviously, we're talking about millions of pairs of sneakers compared to one particular image. However, it's similar in the sense that, you know, who's really putting the price on this, right? Like who's coming up with the value that, oh, you know, this shout out to Division 100 for subscribing too, but it's like who puts the value on this? Like for example, like okay, this gentleman, right, Virgil Abloh, founder of Off White, he used to also be the head of Louis Vuitton. He recently died, maybe about a month ago. And when he died, all of a sudden, his sneakers that he did with Nike, right, and in the Air Jordan line, they shot up, man. They shot up to like almost 10,000. Now I understand, since he passed away, the value is going to go up. But before that, these sneakers were maybe selling for like 3,000, maybe 5,000. Who puts the value on this, right? So it's always something very very touchy to a lot of people because it's a lot of money we're talking about. It's a lot of money, and there's so much to learn about it, right? And since there's so much to learn about it, like you said, if you happen to get in early or if you happen to know more, you're definitely at an advantage, right?
mhm,
So it's also like with Doge, right? When Elon put the money in, it shot up, and then he
mhm.
took it out, and then it went to shit, right?
Yeah,
So
it went down. He doubled basically his money when he put it in, and he took some of it out. Like how they usually do. They take their break even point, and then they take out more and more and more. So, but then that's why it went down. But I mean, everybody just made the guy richer. That's all they did.
Right. And then now we have Fuel right in the chat saying, what's even worse is companies like Ubisoft wanting to use your rig to mine crypto. And then our
Hmm.
friend Pleromatics, right, says people don't just give it whatever the value they want. The description of NFTs you are using is not their primarily popular use case. Now, we're going to learn a little bit more. Obviously, if you know more about the topic, definitely go ahead and let us know. But in this particular stream, we're going to talk about games. We're not going to talk about, really the images and the famous images like the monkey and all of that stuff. But we're going to talk about how this affects games, right? Because we're all gamers here, and we want to know, you know, how is this going to work? What does the gaming community say? Who really wants to benefit off of this, right? Because you have companies like EA, companies like Ubisoft, companies like Activision that are famous for being shitty, right? And famous for nickel and diming us, right? So now they're going to go ahead and do this as another form of trying to make money, and they still put out shit products. So what are we doing here, right? As my friend Post Up would say. So we're going to go ahead and get into that now. I know, Seth, you had wanted to show a video. And this video, I have it on screen right now. We're not going to have the audio for it because we want to go ahead and talk over it so he can go ahead and at least explain what the video is referring to. But as you see in the video, it's called Monetization Design, the Dark Side of Gotcha. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And then, Seth, if you're watching the video, if you can, go ahead and explain a little bit about what they're talking about there. And, we'll go ahead and discuss. And then whoever's watching, go ahead and feel free to share your opinion. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And, Seth, go ahead and, floor is yours.
So I'll just make it quick because the video is kind of long. I think like 30 minutes long. So basically, what this whole presentation is basically for like developers, small app developers for gaming. So what happens is the guy who's talking right now. There's another video too that has the CFO, but this is some other cat or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the whole point is that they're presenting the idea that they've been working on since. So the company is called what's it called? Pixinus? I can't even pronounce it. It's a Russian company basically, and they made an app called Walking Robots from back in the days, and then Walking Robots changed their name to War Robots. But what the whole point of this is they did so much studies on how to follow the trends of people implementing different like a software in the back end of their program to basically figure out people's buying patterns, like to pull them into it, like how they can entice you in order to buy things. And they created this whole structure, this whole workflow of how they can, get people to buy what they want, like to throw money on the screen, you can say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically the company branched off and they made their own they made another company, which is, they implement like whatever you want to call it, AI, whatever, those trendy terms or whatever. And they implement all this stuff just so they can, other company can adapt this sort of like this thinking of to monetize their software, their game or whatever, and basically get people to buy. So, a lot of folks think like, oh, it's somebody in the back end doing this. They're sitting there like in some sort of conference or whatever, trying to figure out. Nah, it has nothing to do with that. The whole thing is automated. This basically follows your trends, checks out what you bought. Let's say if you did buy something, hypothetically, let's say you bought something, a skin or something.
Mm-hmm.
So then the program keeps learning. Eventually starts following like your trends or what you're really interested in, what you're clicking on. The whole 9 yards, everything you do, it just creates a big block of metrics. So this information is sold to other people or whoever it matters. Whoever's in the same, like for this sort of like robot shooting game, this is the metrics we got for these kind of people, and it's being sold off. Or you can implement our software into your game and you can get the same results, and vice versa. So that's just what the whole video talks about. It really covers it's a really great video that people should just look at to understand what it goes on, because I always see this, a lot of people in general, they go and I don't know where they get their information from. I think they just read it up from some article by some journalist guy or some crap. But I think it's best to get the information directly from the head ponchos, the people that are in the, this is my product, and this is how I'm getting you to buy something that you really don't need. And eventually people would defend it, right? People will say, well, it's a company, is meant to make business. But in this game, if you guys haven't heard of it, in this game, you imagine you need an item, you need the weapon to progress in the game, to be good at the game. You can't use your skills. Not your skills that do it, because you have to upgrade your weapons. So let's say you buy a gun, the gun costs like $10. They just give it a price. It's more, but $10. You buy this thing, and then you have to upgrade it. So now you're stuck with this item that you think is good, but now you have to upgrade it to like tier 3.
Right.
Now you're putting the money into it. By the end, it's about two to $3,000. They basically estimate it. It's like about 2 to 3, and that doesn't include your robot. You have to also upgrade your robot. You have to upgrade this. Even the paint job, or what you change your robot's paint, gives you a bonus, gives you a defense, 5% less damage. But how much is this defense? How much is stupid paint job? Oh well, it's 10,000 gold. How much 10,000 gold costs? And then you start seeing the pattern. Oh, so you can only get 2,500 for $99 USD. So you see, so everything starts building up. By the end, you're like $7,000, $10,000 deep, and just so you can enjoy the game and be in the same level. See what I'm saying?
Right.
To be competitive. So I mean, and eventually this is how bad it gets. But nobody talks about it because the game is not like that popular, but it's popular around the mobile community. But then bigger companies see this, thing, and then slowly they start that, because they can't just do that. Imagine they did this in Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? They can't. They'll be like, whoa, this, you have to spend money to upgrade your gun to a tier 3 just so you can do the maximum damage, because you're just shooting basically blanks when you first get it. I mean, people will get upset. It'll be an outrage, right? So slowly companies are doing moving to this, and that's part of the reason that this whole NFT, when NFT gets into the games, it's not going to be good. I don't care what anybody says, it's not going to be good. But if you're a first time adapter, like if you get in and you put your, kind of like people who buy the land, that's like another thing, the digital land. Imagine paying what, 12,000 for digital land in the metaverse. What, for what? Oh, but you can invest on it. It's an investment. But for whom? For yourself. Oh yeah. It's not a topic, but just think of it like that. Same thing with your guns. Imagine you're in Call of Duty, man. We're gonna sell you this gun. You're gonna buy it. This is the percentage of people who are gonna get it, and then eventually nobody else can get it until you sell that token to someone else.
Right.
Well, how much is that going to cost?
And if those people even want to buy it, depending on the price.
Yeah. Right. And then that controls it has like a fake market. It gets stupid. But again, there's people who like the idea. They think it's great because they can capitalize on it.
Right.
But it ruins the game, because then imagine some other person comes in, but then of course the answer would be like, well, that's not my problem, right? And then you put the meme, someone breakdancing like they do in the chants. not my problem, right?
Right. Oh man, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's been a lot of news about it lately. And we're gonna get into that now. On the chat, right? We had Pyromatics. He actually messaged me, right, because we're part of the same Discord server with the Broadband Bullies, and he asked me if he could join. So I said, yeah, sure. Just give us a moment. We're gonna go ahead and at least go through some articles, right, talking about the news, right, because this is what we're really gonna talk about. I'm not involved in any of this stuff, but it's definitely an interesting topic. So I definitely want to go ahead and hear different perspectives, especially from people also that are proponents of NFTs, which is fine. We're not here to try to bash people, right? And, we don't wish to be bashed either. We're just trying to have some dialogue and, just use what we have here for articles to, see what's going on, right? Because obviously this is going to be the future of gaming, whether you like it or not, right? As we all know, right? I may not like it. Seth may not like it. Others may not like it. Some may love it, but it's not going anywhere, right? But just because
it's gonna happen no matter what.
Exactly,
it is what it is.
Exactly, and just because that's the case, that doesn't mean we still can't discuss it, right? And at least have our opinions about it, whether we like it or not. Because at the end of the day, to these companies, our opinions don't even matter. They're gonna do it anyway, right? So
it didn't even Trump's wife just release her own NFT for some, or her own coin or something,
right?
No, some product that you can buy with a certain coin. or some crap.
Yeah, you actually
So everybody's going to bank on it eventually
right, you just
until
went
it
ahead and showed me
until it
that.
bursts. Yeah, until it bursts, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, so like I said, at the end of the day, we're here to discuss this, in as much detail as we can, right? We're not experts, but that doesn't mean we still can go ahead and at least, look at the articles, see what they say, and at least give our opinions on it, right? So we're gonna go ahead and continue. So the first article, right, that we're gonna look at today is from Ars Technica, right? And it says big name publishers see NFTs as a big part of gaming's future, which is what we just spoke about, right? Execs, excuse me, see promise for tracking in-game collectibles and play-to-earn schemes. So we're gonna go ahead and read this real quick. Some of the biggest publishers in gaming are using recent earnings calls to express bullish optimism and the concept of non-fungible tokens (NFTs) and the blockchain more generally being a part of their future business in one way or the other. Ubisoft led off this microtrend in an earnings call late last week. As reported by the International Business Times, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot told investors and analysts that he believes the blockchain is very attractive for the long term and could represent a revolution in the industry. Guillemot, Guillemot expressed particular interest in NFTs' ability to help enable play to earn models, where in game items gained through normal gameplay can be sold for a profit. That model is already in use by early NFT games like Axie Infinity, in which players, especially those in developing countries, can earn monetizable cryptocurrency by battling Pokemon style beasts against each other. Guillemot said that said that kind of model will enable more players to actually own content, and we think it's going to grow the industry quite a lot. In a summary, in a summary document, excuse me, in a summary document accompanying the earnings announcement, Ubisoft also pointed out that the company is a founding member of the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, and it participated in a recent funding round for blockchain licensing company Animica Brands. This experience gives Ubisoft the perspective to reflect on the best ways to overcome blockchain's initial limitations for gaming around sustainability and scalability, the company wrote. Ubisoft was followed this week by EA, Electronic Arts, whose CEO Andrew Wilson said in an earnings call that fans of its FIFA games want more digital experiences outside the game, esports, NFTs, broader sports consumption, and they want us to move really, really quickly. The FIFA game series already makes a large percentage of its revenue by selling collectible cards for the game's Ultimate Team mode, which some countries consider illegal gambling. And remember, this is what happened with the loot boxes. Remember with Overwatch? So, this is also already questionable territory for a lot of people. While Ultimate Team has served as a fine moneymaker for EA without the use of blockchain technology, EA seems curious about how NFTs can help the mode and other in game collectibles make more money. So we're going to go ahead and skip a little bit down. We're going to go read this last part. Too much speculation. The same general position was shared by Take Two CEO Strauss Zelnick in a chat with GameIndustry.biz this week. Zelnick said bluntly that if you believe in collectible physical goods, I don't know why you wouldn't believe in collectible digital goods. While NFTs aren't 100% necessary to track and verify those digital goods, Zelnick said they are one way to authenticate the fact that something singular is rare online. That said, Zelnick expressed some caution about the extreme level of speculation he sees in the current market for NFTs. What I don't believe is that just because something is digital or an NFT, that it suddenly has value or has value that will be increased in the future, he said. And I think that's the problem. NFTs, because they're related to the blockchain as currently contemplated, and because some have gone for a lot of money, are seen by some as just another opportunity to invest in a speculation that something will only go up. And speculations don't just go up, they come down too. For an NFT to be valuable and durable, it has to be found at the intersection of rarity and quality, of rarity and value. And there's rarity for sure in all NFTs, but I'm not sure there's value. So that was one of the first articles that we found with regards to how a lot of these companies are interested in tapping into this form of revenue, right, or form of currency, right, and in particular, right, as you see on the screen with Ultimate Team, this is really, really popular. You see a lot of streamers, a lot of people that play FIFA man, they spend a lot of money sometimes on these packs to get the best team. So I can understand in that sense why they would want to make these NFTs, because they're already these, even though these are just digital players, right? Like, you're just using them in the game, right? But a lot of these players, like, they have different levels, right? Like, you see this one here, the level 80 on the left hand side, right? I think I can't see it that well. I think it's the left wing, the center back, right? All of these right here, they're not, obviously they're not the same as the rest, right? So they're sort of special. So they may also have more value if they were to be an NFT, right? So I can see why they would want to do this. Also, for example, in games like NBA 2K, right? NBA 2K, where you have your team, and if you're playing, for example, NBA 2K on mobile with the cards, I can see that happening too, where you might have a diamond or a sapphire level card, making it an NFT, and you do have to buy packs to get that, right? You do have to use virtual currency VC to go ahead and buy packs. Obviously, you do happen to get some free here and there, but a lot of people that really play NBA 2K hardcore, they spend a lot of money on these packs, and that's how a lot of these companies make money too, right? And they're famous for this. That's why a lot of people, uh, they really dislike microtransactions and things like that, especially with games like NBA 2K. Now, that already is a problem in itself for a lot of people that play that game. Now, imagine now adding an NFT to that, and the rarity of the cards, right? Like legend cards, or like I said, sapphire, or whatever name you want to give it. So I see it obviously being a big market, but it's already being tacked on to a problem that already exists in a way, at least in my opinion, right? When it comes to microtransactions and people spending money, of course, they will have, I'm sure, ways that you can get these without having to pay anything. But as you'll see later on, there's an article from Ubisoft saying you have to play 600 hours in a game to get an item, right? And 600 hours is a lot for a game. That's probably playing the game for almost a year, maybe even more, depending on what other games you play. But it's definitely tricky, and I think it's something that's going to be tacked on to a problem we already have in gaming with loot boxes and microtransactions. Now, Shake Koppel, right, also from the BBB Discord, says NFTs are already here in gaming, just in a slightly different way. Just look at CS:GO skins. I have two knives that are worth 1,000 each that I'm free to buy, sell, or trade over their market or third party, and that kind of goes into, and Seth, you can piggyback off of this with what's going on in Diablo with D2JSP, right, where you can practically buy these items, but you're not really using cash, right? Because you can still gain gold in that game. Say, for example, you find, let's say, a Shaco, right? And you get a perfect roll. You can go onto that site and sell that Shaco. How much was it going for, bro? Do you remember how much the Shaco was going for?
Oh, back then, I think it was like $100. I think, and or it was like $100 on eBay. It
Uh-huh.
depended. eBay had like 80 to 70, depending. I think now it's a lot lower now. It dropped to like I think like low 20s,
Okay,
like
so
15 bucks now.
let's say this. What's the most expensive item you've seen on Diablo? Is it Grief? Is it Last Wish? Is it Enigma?
It was Enigma. Enigma was
Okay,
when Diablo 2 was out, man. Enigma was hot. Enigma was almost for $1,000.
okay. And how much was it now recently? I think with runes,
I
just the runes
I I
alone was like two
I
thousand, right?
with what do you mean? Like to buy it right now? Like the value of what is where it's standing now?
Yeah, like remember how we were just talking about it before, that they were selling Ja Ith Burr, and I think the Burr rune was like $600, just one
Oh,
rune.
by itself. Yeah. When the rune was standing by itself, yeah, the burr was about 800,
Okay,
600 to 800, around there. It was bounced out. And some people, if they duped it, they were like trying to go for it for 4 to 5. But Yeah, it was the average was about from 7 to 8. Now it's a little bit more lower now, especially like right now the Enigma value. I think I seen it for the lowest for like $200, 300. So you see how it
That's a
dropped
lot.
from
That's
a
really
thousand.
low because I remember, we were talking about this about maybe a month and a half ago. Enigma was going for like $2,000.
Yeah, perfect Enigma was going for like really high up there.
Okay, so we're gonna use that as an example, for example, right? So let's say you're playing the game, right? Obviously, the items in the game are free. You're not paying, right, to get these items, but it involves a lot of luck, it involves a lot of time, and in many cases, it involves the use of bots. So what you can do is now this is a little different, right? But it's very similar because when you sell items, for example, on that site D2JSP, you get gold in return, but it's forum gold, and you can't withdraw that, right? You cannot withdraw forum gold; it stays on that site. But what you can do is you can practically use that gold to make another character to get top tier items, run it through a bot to get more of the other items you just sold, and it keeps going, right? So it is not the same, but can you imagine now with that problem that we have? Because that game absolutely has a problem. There's no doubt about it. There is a problem with Diablo 2 when it comes to
But
third party market. Go ahead,
it's
you were
pretty
gonna.
funny. It kind of reminds what you just said, like the bot stuff. It's kind of like the bot is mining for that item. Instead of
Absolutely.
farming, how they say farming. To change the word from farm to mining. So then the bot is mining for the burr rune. That
Absolutely.
only drops in Act 3, pretty much. You can
Yeah,
call it like that. I thought it was kind of
absolutely.
funny.
Absolutely. That absolutely is mining, right? And so now let's let's add that now to now making let's now can you imagine if you had a perfect enigma, perfect roll into an NFT on top of the problem that we already have with a game like Diablo with the secondary market, third party market, right? Where you have bots selling items, and this has been going on for over 20 years, right? Because Diablo 2 came out in 2000. It's going to be 2022 in 2 weeks, right? So this has been going on for a very long time. And as Sheikh Kappa mentioned in the chat, right, Blizzard tried it years ago with the Auction House 2, and they got destroyed by Fanstra. I remember. I think at that time in the real money auction house, the most an item would be worth, I think it was $250. I think that was a cap. And man, that's a lot because mind you, that's just one item out of a whole set that you need to build to make your build, right? And I think in Diablo 3, you have to use your helmet, you need bracers, you need gloves, you need rings, you need pants, you need boots. What else did you need? I said the bracers. You need a whole bunch. So you need at least like 9 different items to fully make a build. So let's say that it's 9 items, right? And each and the best roll for it is $250, right? So let's say that that's what we're doing, right? So let's do the math, right? 9 times 250, that's $2,200, 2,250. So if that's the case, right, you're gonna spend almost $2,500, right? And that's just then. That was almost 10 years ago because Diablo 3 came out in 2012. So some games, it's going to be a real big problem, right? Especially games like Diablo and maybe perhaps Warcraft. But we're going to have to see, right? We're going to have to see. But as we know, this is here to stay. We can complain about it, we can love it. Like I said, we're not judging you for it. Honestly, I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't mean we can't speak about it and at least have discussion on it, and talk about what problems we may experience or what benefits we may gain, right? So we're going to continue. Do you have anything that you want to add, Seth, especially with regards to Diablo, since you're very well rounded in that game?
The other thing that you can say also is about the regarding the NFT, like the soccer game that you're thing that you were
FIFA.
showing on the screen. Yeah. So also one of the benefits that a lot of people, like, remember, there's always a good and a bad. One benefit is like for the creator. the creator, if he or she makes, draws one of their stupid NFT things and they sell it in the market, they can still get a commission every time someone else sells it. Like I have one, like because I was goofing around just so I can see, what the benefits of it and stuff. Because I have one just to test out the water, and you can set how much as you want, usually. But then people say that the good level is to get like 10%. So imagine if someone sells it for $100, you're gonna get a 10% kickback from it
Hmm.
every time it sells. So if it sells for more, then you get 10%, 10%. So so that's pretty much I think the main concept was. So imagine the gaming company, and you sell like a gun, right? Like I don't know, a shotgun. It's cool because it's gold. So imagine if that gun keeps bouncing around from person to person, the company's still always going to get money. It's like someone keeps buying a DLC and they get a percentage
And it's
for the
funny.
company. The
It's
company
funny
still
you
wins.
mentioned
The
that
house wins.
because like you said
You
it's
know.
10%. Like it kind of reminds me of because I used to be in the gambling industry, and the book always has what's called the juice, right? The vig. That's what it's called. And for those of you that gamble, especially that gamble, say football or basketball, understand, that a spread, right, which is normally known as a straight bet for the most part, a spread is, how much is a team going to win for or win by. Say for example, the spread is -7, -7. I don't know, Phoenix Suns, right, against a shit team or whatever. -7 means that that team is expected to win by at least 7 points, right? So if they win by 7, you push. If they win by 8 or more, you win. If they win by 6 or less, or they lose, then you lose, right? But those lines are always 110 to win 100. Why? Because you have to put down $110 to win $100. So the book always gets its VIG, it gets its juice. That's what it's called. It's 10%. So from that bet, they're getting $10 no matter what, right? So it kind of reminds me of that, right? Because if each transaction, the company, the parent company, if you want to call it, is going to get its cut, kind of reminds me of gambling in that sense, right? Because I have experience in that, and the book always makes money no matter what. They're always going to get their cut. That's just how odds work. Now, Eddie in the chat says these NFTs in gaming will only be available for people with buying power. Regular Joes will be excluded. By the way, gas fees are ridiculous.
Yeah, they are
You
ridiculous. They're
know?
really high. They transfer your money, your crypto money. It is pretty high. So he's right about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. It's something that we should always feel free to discuss. Now, continuing on, we're going to talk about EA, right? As we were, speaking of before, right? EA calls NFT and blockchain games the future of our industry, but also says they're early during earnings call. So this is a little bit about what we just spoke, but as you see, it's a topic, man. It's really a topic that has gained a lot of interest for good and bad, right? Because like I said, there's people out there that are proponents of it, that believe obviously it is the future, because it is the future, whether you like it or not. But they're early adopters of it, or early proponents of it. And then there's people that are skeptical of it, that don't trust it, that don't like it, and teach his own, right? It's your money, whether you feel like using it for that, or whether you feel like you don't trust it because it might be some sort of scam or whatever. Do as you wish with your money, right? Nobody's here to judge you. It is what it is, right? But as you see, right, it's definitely gaining ground, right? And as we spoke about before, right, Ubisoft, right, part of that conglomerate, right, of NFTs, right, with the what was this shit called again? I can't even fucking remember. We were just talking about it so much, right? They were talking about it here in the IB Times, right, that they became part of the group. But yeah, let's at least get going, right? So this is something that I find very interesting. This is coming from Binance, right? Crypto gamification or gamification. How NFTs disrupt the gaming industry. Key takeaways: NFTs have revolutionized many industries, notably the gaming space, where players enjoy crypto gamification and financial rewards. NFTs successfully offer an array of benefits traditional gaming doesn't. I'm sorry, NFTs successfully offer an array of benefits traditional gaming doesn't, such as the play to earn model, interoperability of game assets, and more. The popularity of NFT games has created a community of gamers, crypto investors, and NFT fanatics. To get started with NFT gaming, take part in IGO launches by Binance NFT to collect core in-game assets from various projects. Okay, so this is what we want to check out. What is NFT gamification or gamification? How does it work? NFT gamification takes typical gaming elements like point scoring competition and rules of play and applies blockchain technology. This combination has led to the emergence of GameFi, where users trade and swap game assets for financial rewards. NFT gaming actually works in a relatively simple way. The assets used within the game world are programmed as NFTs, which have value among players and collectors and can also be sold. For instance, in the Axie Infinity game, each creature in Axie is minted as an NFT. Players can battle with their NFTs in return for crypto rewards. Other examples include the upcoming My Neighbor Alice, where players build and create their own virtual lands. Users will also interact with their neighbors, perform activities, and earn rewards for their achievements. Most in game assets and rewards will be NFTs that range from their degree of rarity. How is NFT gamification changing the industry? NFT gamification can work in many ways. Let's explore the most notable and common ways NFT games have disrupted traditional gaming. A source of income via later earned games. Gaming has traditionally been play to win, where users buy items and upgrades that help them with no real economic return. The new play to earn model acts instead as a source of income for players who gain financial rewards from the in game activities, kind of like what we were talking about with NBA 2K, right? With the cards and even with FIFA. There are generally two ways to earn play to earn games: trading NFTs or earning in game rewards, and cryptocurrencies. To start, players typically invest in an NFT character or other starter team. The NFTs can then be sold to other players on the market, such as the Binance NFT marketplace, or used to farm crypto and NFTs. Both of these create an economy within the game largely independent of developer interference. Interesting, because that's sort of how Diablo is, right? Diablo has its own. It's interesting because Diablo 2, for example, Diablo 2 has its own economy in the game by people that don't use third party sites. And then it has its alternate, right, in or alternate marketplace from third party sites, because the two prices are never the same, right? Somebody might be willing to trade an item in Diablo 2, say they, for example, me, I got a Shaco for a gold rune, and I forgot what else.
A mile.
Was it a Mao? Yeah, Golden
Yeah.
Mao.
Golden Mile. Yep.
And a Golden Mao in, for example, third party sites might be worth, I think a gold rune was like $50, $60, and the Mao rune is like $5. So it's like $65. But if you go to, these third party sites, that Shaco, if you want to trade for it with gold, for example, with Forum Gold that D2JSP uses, you might be talking about $80, maybe a little more, right? So it sort of already happens in some games, and I think this is going to amplify that, right, in a certain way. So these are just little details, right? It's a lot of information, and if you're interested, all the links are going to be in the description, right? If you want to go ahead and read them for yourself and share them, it's fine. Eddie says, look out for decentralized and sandbox tokens.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, Decentraland,
He's
excuse me.
right.
Decentraland and Sandbox. Yeah, I seen that. Those are one of the popular ones. Now, before we get to this article, if our friend Play, Play the Rose, if he's here, I'm gonna go ahead and have him come join. So Play, if you're listening, go ahead and join up. Join up in VIP chat 1 if you're here, and we'll give you the floor, right? So you can go ahead and discuss. Okay, you need a few minutes. Sure. Just let me know. Let me know. We'll go ahead and continue. Since I know you're a proponent of it, no worries, man. Since you're a proponent of it, I'm gonna give you a good 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, uninterrupted, to go ahead and explain why this is good or why people should look into it, things of that nature. We're not gonna rebuttal you. I'm not gonna rebuttal you. Seth is not gonna rebuttal. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor so you can go ahead and express your opinion, uh, like a phone call, right? It's like we're taking a phone call, on a live radio show, right? Where you're gonna go ahead and give your take, and then we'll continue, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So just let me know whenever you're ready. But until then, we're gonna go ahead and at least continue with this article right here that even Seth was talking about before about the Halo Master Chief helmet, right? How that's an NFT right now, right? So Xbox boss, right, Phil Spencer, talks about exploitative NFTs. We don't want that kind of content, he says, of NFTs that are more exploitative than about entertainment, right? So NFT, and this is an article from Kotaku. And Kotaku, I've noticed that has been putting out a lot of articles about this sort of stuff, right? Did you see? There's two here, one, two, and then there's three at the end. So there's a lot of information that they're putting out there. So Phil Spencer, right? He is completely against this stuff. He said, "What I'd say today on NFT, all up, is I think there's a lot of speculation and experimentation that's happening, and that some of the creative that I see today feels more exploitive than about entertainment." So, as you see here, NFTs are about driving a wedge between morons and money. Not my words, that's Kotaku, right? And nothing else. Everything they claim to do for art can already be done by paying artists to make you actual art. Everything they claim to do for video games can already be done by video games, and grossly misunderstands how games are made and supported. Yet, exactly because they are primarily about making money out of nothing, a disheartening array of major video game publishers have jumped on board. From Sega to EA, Ubisoft to Capcom to Epic, more and more companies are exploring or simply straight up releasing NFTs in a rush to make a buck or two from the craze. Objections from fans and industry peers be damned. Indeed, one of the only companies to publicly come out in opposition to NFTs is Valve, and everybody loves Valve. God bless Valve, who have blocked the sale of any games making use of the technology on Steam. So the head of Xbox and the extension, the boss of the industry, upending Xbox Game Pass, saying this in November 2021 is certainly encouraging. Of course, he doesn't write out. Of course, he doesn't come out. I'm sorry. Of course, he doesn't come right out and denounce the whole thing, leaving the door open for some mythical future where they don't suck. I don't think it necessitates that every NFT game is exploitive. He says, I just think we're kind of in that journey of people figuring it out. And that's true. That is true. I don't know what they're gonna do or how this is gonna work out, but when it comes to mainstream, it's still fairly new, right? Obviously, you have a lot of, you can call them indie games, right? Or monster games, right? Like the one we just saw, Axie Infinity, right, and things like that. A lot of mobile games, I think, too, also do it, but it's still growing, right? So we still have a way to go, but like I said, it's here. It's here. So, but as it stands, with the type of games and experiences NFT hucksters are trying to sell in the moment, that's not the kind of thing Spencer thinks should be available on Xbox. I can understand that early on you see a lot of things that probably are not the things you want to have in your store. I think anything that we looked at in our storefront that said it's exploitive would be something that we would, take action on. We don't want that kind of content. So, for the time being, Xbox is saying no. What Sony gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. But what do you think, Seth? Do you think that once all these mainstream games, right, particularly games like Call of Duty, are gonna go ahead and really move the dial to yes, even though right now Phil Spencer says no, the head of Xbox says no. Once they really start seeing how much money can be made and how this all works, do you think that it's inevitable that all these gaming companies and manufacturers, right, in terms of Xbox, they're gonna go ahead and just move the dial? What do you think?
I think one way of doing it is they'll probably have to probably make their own coin first of all. I think, and then because that will just give them a big niche of what what how much do they have available, you know, kind of. I think that's what has to happen first, and then move forward. Because just like the article says, I mean, this one. that brings up. Like again, there's always a good and a bad. I think like for example, I think if creator like content creators, right? Let's
Hmm.
say let's say they take GTA, right? And you know GTA has a lot of mods, you know, like and some
Right.
mods are really damn cool. So imagine a content creator, you know, he makes a better looking Batmobile than the crap that we have now in game. So you know, actually that creator sells it, puts it as an NFT, whatever, and then that creator keeps getting money from that, and then they can make more things. I mean, so that's a good thing for it. But I think that's the problem with like big gaming companies is their main goal is they're trying to figure out how they can profit or maximize their stuff, right? Remember the house gets a 10%.
Right.
So imagine for Halo, imagine, oh man, you won the old fashioned Mark V armor suit on Master Chief. Well, it's gonna cost this much. You see what I'm saying? But I
Hmm.
think if you're like a small timer person or like some 3D model creator or something, then I can definitely see. I think the person that person can, you know, that can be their livelihood. You know, they can make some cash off that.
Sure.
But for big ass companies, I don't know. I think that's why a lot of these guys like Xbox or whatever, they don't want to tamper it because they need to, you know, maximize their profit, like how much they can squeeze, you know, this shit before, you know, they can release it into the wild, you know. And there's probably some legal stuff too, I bet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like copyright or whatever, you know, kind of like you brought up, you know, anybody can go there and, you know, use things that resemble Master Chief helmets,
Right. I mean, look
you
at
know,
this, right? We're seeing on the screen, right? Exactly.
right, right. And like these things, you know, they're so wild west right now because, for example, like you can go to Fiverr and you can pay like $200 and you'll have someone generate because there's a script for it. I did see it. I looked into it. There was a script that you can put that you just draw like a couple of like, you know, you have the silhouette and then you can just draw certain parts of it and then it will auto generate and it will make you like, you know, 200 1,000 different variants and then you
Hmm.
post it up there, you know, put your Discord and all that stuff and boom, you have a, you know, your NFT thing going on and then, you know, people will buy it or, you know, if it looks hot, you know. Yeah, I sent you mines. You saw mines?
Yeah.
Yes, that's my NFTs right there. See, that's the state of the art. So
I'm gonna make one too. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding. I don't know. I don't know anything really too much about this, but it's always interesting, right? Because obviously, as the years go on, technology gets better, more ideas come about. You know, people try to innovate, man. They try to innovate, and obviously, with innovation comes profit, right? So, we got to see where this is gonna go. As we know, right? Something that's really starting to kick off, right, and in mainstream, right, and then of course, in gaming, mainstream gaming, right, because you know they know. Okay, put it this way: right now, PS5 is like at 15 million sales, right, and so those games on that console haven't been tapped into yet, really. So now, can you imagine how much money can be made when you have an install base that large? And it's only going to get bigger, right? Because of course, um, gaming is it's still going to keep growing. It's overtaken movies and it's overtaken music, right? So this is the biggest. This is the biggest one, right? Who knows, right? We really don't know. I really don't know. Um, which one is your NFT, bro? There's a couple of images. Is it all of these?
Oh, all those stupid sketches.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just made it because I was testing it out to see what will happen. No
All
one
right.
bought it, of course, because they're too great.
All right. I'm gonna put this on the screen so people can see. So these are Seth's NFTs. This is what he's been
They're
working
they're
on.
they're phenomenal, man. Buy them.
Yeah, just buy it, man. Why not, right? If you got the money, just do it, right? So we got a
Buy
cat.
so buy so we can start our own gaming company.
Yeah, bro. Just do it. Like Nike, just do it, bro. So we got this one over here. Looks like a cat that had too much to eat and can't get up. What else we got? Got some dude to be fat or not to be fat. That is the question. Looks like he's also had a lot to eat too, and his cat's right there next to him.
Dude, those
Uh,
are my coworkers when I was doing the geology stuff.
we have this one over here. Safety first, Mr. Jiggles. Okay. Canrig. And then we have this one here. Got the
And
cat.
And these are true stories. These happen on the rig. Just FYI, people were wondering.
That's crazy. That's
It
crazy.
happened. True story, man. I have witnesses.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get our friend Play Rose, right? Play in the chat. Whenever you have the chance, just join. Right, you should be able to join if I'm not mistaken. Try to join right now if you hear me. All right, let me just let him know. So we're gonna give him the floor. I'm just gonna go ahead. Oh, he's in chat one. Okay, so I'm gonna be right back, Seth. I'm gonna go ahead and link up with him, and we're gonna give him the floor. All right.
I
All right, Play. You
Yeah,
there?
you're gonna have to move me in because I don't even see that. Probably because I don't have the role.
All right, I'm gonna drop you in right now. All right. All right.
Yeah, I can't. I definitely can't see that. I don't have a role for it.
All right,
So
Play. So
show up.
I know you're a big proponent, right, of NFTs, right? You have shared a lot about it in the BBB Discord. Shout out to the Broadband Bullies, and you know obviously a lot more about it than I do, right? So being that you are, watching the stream and sharing your opinion on it and your knowledge on it, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor, right? So I want you to go ahead and to tell the viewers, right, people that are interested in learning about this or maybe interested in investing in this, why is this good and why is it good for gaming and why should it be good for gaming? So I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. I'm not going to interrupt you, and once you're done just let me know and then we'll continue. All right.
Okay, yeah, it
uh,
shouldn't take me long. I really don't. I don't believe it's good or bad for gaming, to be honest. I think I view them as pretty neutral. I've spent a couple of years in the crypto space, and pretty much it's like akin to when the internet age was first coming about. Majority of it is scams. The majority of it will go to zero and be worthless. You pretty much have to do your own research and make sure whatever money you're going to spend is money you're willing to lose. And I view NFTs the same way. Um, I know that right now the popular narrative in the crypto space regarding NFTs is definitely the pay to earn methodology that's being used in games right now. And listening to you guys talk about it, some of the predatory practices that you guys brought up, they're evident in the space. They're there. Some entrepreneurs are trying to fix that problem. So one of the major problems, is when you get people that can maybe grind out a game, whereas other people who are interested, they have jobs or whatever. By the time, a week has gone by, those who have grinded it have earned so much rare loot that now they can start pricing it on the stores. They can build their characters to levels that the others can't achieve. And then they essentially can monetize to those who can't spend as much time in the game. And so the way I view NFTs to me is no different than how I view DLC. Because their use cases, for the most part, are no different than DLC use cases. At least how I think right now they want to be implemented for games. The only difference is, so take for example, the Ubisoft thing where you had to grind 600 hours to earn a particular item. And then you have the way that EA is doing it for the Ultimate Team and 2K is doing it for my team. Where you're having to grind for these rare cards of these elite players that make your teams much better. Those types of situations, there's already predatory practices in them.
Right.
And NFT for 2K and EA, like you guys said, it's just not going to change that. So I don't think they will become a mainstay of gaming until there is a company that can provide a non-predatory use case for them. Because right now, that's pretty much the narrative that they carry with the general public, particularly the general public that doesn't know much about them outside the headlines that they may read. And And until that happens, I think that that in terms of their growth in the gaming space, it's going to primarily be underground, primarily on blockchain games, primarily out of the public, and you might get a mobile game. I think you're going to see them come up in the mobile space before they touch really,
Absolutely.
before they become
Yes.
accepted. Let me put it that way, in the console space. Because Steam has already said you can't have them in your games and then be on their stores. Microsoft has already come out against them. Sony's been a lot quieter, but I think they, in like the past month or two, there was some news that came out about them building a platform for it. But Sony themselves haven't come out and said anything yet. And so Sony, in my opinion, unlike Microsoft at times, they like to be quiet about what they're doing. They're willing to take flack regarding rumors and all of those things. They're willing to let Microsoft take the hit for many things, even though they may be accomplishing the same things in the background. I think it's going to get accepted in the mobile space first because
Agreed.
there are already blockchain companies who are building games based around NFTs that are bringing that to the mobile space already. And it's going to largely go unnoticed there because most of these games are going to be played by people who are already interested in blockchain anyway.
Right.
But I don't think they're inherently good or bad. They're neutral. And the question is going to be, how are these companies going to use them? That's the concern that legitimately everybody has. The sad thing is that NFTs, very much like anything in life, bad press usually far outweighs and gets far more attention and sticks with people far more than the good use cases of them. I could, like for example, DLC is sort of the same way, but DLC has had some good use cases in some games. Even though Activision has been, pretty much had a negative light when it comes to all these skins and, them putting, custom animation for guns behind a paywall and things of that nature. They have done things like Veterans DLC where 100% of the royalties go to a vet charity. I've seen games where they made a charity of choice and the DLC all went to that. Now, obviously, they're not going to do that for the majority of their products because they all still need to make money. I personally don't have a problem with them charging for extra content because the reality is when you build a game, you can never include 100% of what you intend in any game. And the reason I say that is because you can have something planned out, and when you want to develop something new to add to that game that you had not thought of before, you're going to have to probably charge for it because somebody still has to do that work. And just because people remember buying a game is a one-time fee. So if I have given you 12 hours of content with some things that you can earn in game, and I've sold that for $70 or whatever, well, now whatever additional content I decide to create, whether I have it planned or not, because there are deadlines, there are timelines, and things like these that most of us customers don't think about, that's work. But if I've already sold you the game, I'm not getting paid for this additional work I'm doing. So there is two sides of this where, yes, as the consumers, we want to pay less, but as a developer, even the one, the designers, they want to also get paid more.
Make more.
But then there's the thing, the companies make more money where the developers and the designers don't. So one valuable use case is not just that, let's say a designer has their own content that they want to put in the game, and they're able to negotiate with their employer that a certain percentage of every sale or resale of that goes to that developer. And you set, like you guys discussed, there's a cap on it. Things can't be sold for more than $10 or $5 or whatever the case is. So I think that there are going to be predatory uses that some of these major companies are going to use, but
Yeah.
it's going to be the company that figures out how to control the greed and at the same time be completely fair, open, and honest with their customers that is going to be the one to win them over. But honestly, I don't foresee that happening for quite some time.
All right, Play. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. I'm gonna go ahead and move you over, right? But I
Okay.
definitely appreciate you taking the time to go ahead and join us, right? We wanted to give you I don't want to say a fair shake, right? Because you said you were neutral anyway, right? But we definitely wanted to at least be
Yeah.
fair with you to at least explain how you see things
Like
and what you know.
like I love the tech, but what I think about NFTs in terms of like console gaming, it's just going to be a hard sell. Like my
Mhm.
interest in NFTs is not with gaming primarily.
Right, and then that's a whole different topic, right? Because this one in
Yeah,
particular
exactly.
is in regards to gaming. But Play, I thank you for coming on the show. Of course, if and there's a topic in the future you're interested in, joining us in, definitely let me know. All right, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Y'all take it easy.
You got it, bro. Take care, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace. So that was interesting, right? Because he mentioned pretty much what we've been discussing, right? Predatory behavior in these spaces, right? And that's been a huge problem for a lot of companies, right? And a lot of games. And so, the fact that he's neutral, and I know he's, like I said, a proponent of NFTs, but even he said it himself, right? When it comes to having it in gaming, it's a whole nother monster, right? And like I said, if you're interested in NFTs, then you're interested in NFTs. I'm not here to convince you otherwise or anything like that. But today's show, since we're gamers and everybody that's watching this show is a gamer, we want to know, well, how is this going to affect gaming? How is it going to affect us that have been doing this for 30 years or more, right? So, he's right, in the sense that, with FIFA and with 2K, it's already a problem. It's a huge problem. People hate Take Two. They hate 2K for what they do with microtransactions. They hate it. And so since they hate it, now you're adding this to it. And it's crazy because NBA 2K in particular is by far play to win. If you got the bank, listen, man, they sell, I think it's gold editions or something like that, or the premium edition, whatever it is. It's like $100 or even more. And with that, they give you like 100,000 virtual currency, 100,000 VC that you can either use to upgrade your character or you can buy packs for your My Team, right? Where you have all these different legends or different NBA players making part of your team, right? So they already incentivize that. They push that, like, hey man, we know you want to play 2K and it's $70, but why don't you spend 120, and we'll give you more coins, even though it's the same broken game that you played last year with a few minor changes, right? Just put a little bit more money in so you can go in and buy these packs so you can have better players so you can show off to your friends, right? So they make a lot of money off of that shit, man. 2K makes a fuckload of money off of that. And another thing I want to talk about even is going to be maybe GTA, right? Because GTA Online has been out since 2014, guys. It's been almost 8 years. And you want to know why and how it has been so sustainable? The answer is shark cards. Rockstar knows that, shark cards make them so much money. What would be the point of them releasing a GTA 6 anytime soon when GTA Online is their moneymaker? They make so much money off of that. And mind you, on PC, it's a bit different because you have the mods, you have role playing and things like that. But on console, in particular PlayStation, right? It's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. That's why you haven't seen anything. They're just going to release the DLC that everybody's been asking for the past 8 years. They're going to finally release it. And it's going to be for GTA Online. It's not a single player. It's GTA Online. Because they know that GTA Online is their breadwinner. Because people spend money on their shark cards, right? For items that don't do shit for the most part. unless you buy a car to go faster or whatever. But for the most part, it's just aesthetics. Now, that's already an issue of itself, right? You know, how does that game? And mind you, they're releasing it again, right? With barely any fucking changes because they know that, hey, you know, we got to take advantage of the fact that, you know, ninth gen consoles are here. We're making so much money. We got to put it over there, right? And now that they're going to put it over there, now they want to go ahead and put a DLC out. Why? Because they're going to have more. I bet you're going to have more items, maybe locations or whatever, and more things that people are going to want to buy. And obviously, with heists and missions and shit like that, you might not be able to afford many of these things unless you want to grind the game. But, you know, like Play said, and it goes back to Diablo. Some people can't afford to do this because they have a job, because they have a family, because they just don't want to do it like that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're a full-time streamer that, you know, plays games, you know, 12 hours a day every day on YouTube and Twitch, and you know, what else you're gonna do, right? You gotta make content, right? What else you're gonna be doing all day? You might as well grind it, right? But for the average gamer, which doesn't negate them being a hardcore gamer, right? They just don't have the time to do it, and you know that doesn't take them away from being a hardcore gamer. I'm telling you, like that's a problem right there, right? Because now it's about the grind and the time. So it's essentially play to win again, right? Just masqueraded in something else. What do you think, Seth? What do you think? What do you think about what he shared with us, and what do you think about even, you know, mentioning GTA, right? GTA being around for so long that it's going to be on its third generation. It's going to be on another console for the third generation, right? Or at least a third generation of consoles. It was on PS3 and Xbox 360. It was on PS4 and the Xbox One series consoles, and now it's going to be on PS5 and the Series X consoles. What do you think? And you know, in terms of, you know, why should like a company like, you know, Rockstar go ahead and worry about a GTA 6 when, you know, 8 years later they're finally going to put out a DLC? And you know, what if they start adding NFTs to the game? Then what would be the point of releasing a GTA 6 if you just keep updating GTA Online? What do you think?
Well, I agree. I agree with the gentleman from earlier. He definitely basically said, like, you know, summarized it. You know, it's unexplored territory, and that
Absolutely.
and I can definitely. I also agree definitely that, you know, companies will try, like companies or people or in general, you know, small, you know, shady companies, big companies, they will try to exploit it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
something good. I mean, this could, like, it's like, you know, like we said earlier, this can go two ways, but most people want to, you know, squeeze that lemon as tight as they can so they can squeeze all the juice out of it, you know. And I think that's where it will always get kind of sketchy with companies, because, you know, instead of doing the right thing, they're going to be like, well, how much can we profit from this, you know,
Right.
or what can we do, you know, to give it it has to work for, you know. It's kind of what Halo is doing with their shop, you know, like they're limiting everything into a bundle so you don't put everything out there. And
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard's doing that also with Diablo, with their new Rune Words coming out on it's on
Right.
the, and they're gonna just drip feed it, you know, instead of giving you all out, they're gonna drip feed it, because and they even admitted it, you know, the Mr. Llama, whatever his name is, on
Right.
that podcast of his, the developers admitted, you know, say, you know, we're not gonna give it, like, he's like, well, no promises here, you know, we're just gonna give it little by little content, and then eventually you'll get your new Rune Words that will be for your mercenaries, apparently, mainly. But yeah, man, I think definitely there has to be, I don't want to say regulations, because then it would just become like the dollar, you know.
Well,
But
that,
then
that
at the
that
same
takes away
time,
from crypto, right? Because isn't crypto
right,
supposed to be
football,
decentralized? So how can you
right,
regulate
right,
it then?
right. And I think that's probably what they want to see, because they want to, you know, they want to watch where your money goes and all that stuff. I mean, you could look at this person's wallet and stuff. If you go on the wallet, you can see like their transactions and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
or how much money they're holding or something like that. But you know, I think right now it's too young, and too many big fish, too many big whales are going around trying to you know, mess with it, and eventually
Mm-hmm.
it's a slippery slope, you know. Regarding GTA, yeah, I mean, there's nothing really much, you know. I think Rockstar is they're gonna ride this out. There's no point of making GTA 6 right now.
No.
I think, aren't they gonna make an improved graphical version of it for the PS5
Yeah,
and
yeah, the
Xbox.
enhanced edition or
The
some shit
enhanced
like
edition
that.
is coming out, right? So I mean, is it going to be as bad as the enhanced edition from the previous ones that they just made?
Yeah, it is.
Because because the mods were way better. I mean, they has a video that they compare the people with free mods versus the new pay one, and the mod ones which are free are way better.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that they can they're gonna milk it, man. I think they're gonna milk it to the end of time. Um, I think there's a lot of unreleased stuff that they still have because remember, there's stuff that people data mine, and there's like assets in the game that are not utilized yet. Kind of like, for example,
Well,
the big fat
remember
meteor,
the UFO?
the UFO. They have the big meteor that's supposed to hit that building, the observatory, the space
Mhm.
observatory up in the mountain. Like it's supposed to crack open or something. So they have so many assets they haven't used, and eventually they're gonna, I guess, release it in time or whatever. I mean, I think they don't have a new DLC or whatever with Dr. Dre regarding his
Yeah.
cell phone, right? But I think you have to be online, right,
Yeah, I
to
think
access the
what's
computer.
it's being marketed as a GTA Online DLC. I haven't really looked into it
Uh,
too much, but it says it on the
Interesting.
on the main image, right? It says it's GTA
Mm.
Online, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think you do have to. Because people were complaining that to access the computer, you have to be online. But then there was a way to go around it. I forgot how to do it. They said there's a way to go around it, but you'll get the missions, but
mhm.
you don't have you don't have to be online, so you can do it privately I guess in a private lobby or some shit.
Just put your MTU to
Um,
800.
yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I definitely don't see it for regarding NFTs for GTA. Kind of like I said earlier, I think if they allow like modders or something to bring their projects into GTA, and then because these modders are like way better than
Oh
Rockstar
yeah.
themselves, man. I think so. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
they do some real cool stuff, man. And I think if they allow them to promote their, I guess, NFT in the game so they can get a cut, and do their thing or whatever, they're they can get their 10% or whatever they're gonna get.
Mhm.
That'd be great. I think for small developers, small programmers, I think that'd be great. But Rockstar, they're crunk. They're kind of like they're getting worse, I guess, right?
Well, look what
Yeah.
happened with definitive edition for the remasters,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
They blocked all the modders and all of that stuff
Yep.
because they didn't want them. They even took away the original games from Steam because they were so much better with mods. They're like, no, you can't play this shit now. If you didn't have it back then, you can't do it now. And they sent
Right.
cease and desists because they want you to play their
Right.
game, their shit game.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason why they were never going to lean to the to a path so people can be more interact with the community. They don't
Hmm.
want that. They want to control it. They want their narrative. They want to do it their way.
Right.
If they're not getting the whole pie, eh, we're just gonna cease. We're just gonna take your shit, and you're
Yeah.
gonna like it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pretty
Exactly.
much,
We're gonna punch
right?
you in the
So
face, and you're gonna like it.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up. I mean, another a good example in gaming that it's gonna get really expensive. There's a game it was called Star Citizen. I think some people
Yeah.
heard of it, some people haven't. Me personally, it was super expensive, even when I was a kid, because I mean I think it's been in alpha for like 10+ years.
Hmm.
So there's another game that's piggybacking off it called Star Atlas. I don't know if you want to check out that website real quick, and you can see the prices of these items, like how much, and
Okay.
it's for PC. I think the game's not even out yet. So, but you're buying these sketches
Uh-huh.
of these spaceships or whatever. What's supposedly
Star
going to be in
Atlas
the game.
Experience is what it's called, right?
Yeah, yeah. You have to navigate. They have a really fancy website. I give them that, man. Their website is really nice.
Let's
I
see.
think it's
Yeah, it looks nice.
really, a really pretty website. Um, and in order to get to their show, you got to go to a showroom,
Wow,
and
look at
then
that
from
shit.
showroom, yeah, dude, yeah, their shit is fancy.
Showroom, you
And
said,
then
right?
yeah, click on showroom, and then go to spaceships or NFT posters, whatever, and you can see the prices. I mean, they're really high. They're like about 800 or whatever. But just they're taking the same concept as it's in the bottom right, the place to click on the ships, and
Loading 3D model.
yeah, and then on the left you see the navigator. You see the to go to the store. It said to buy now.
Buy, let's see. Buy Discovery of Iris. How much is this shit? Let's see.
So And
Okay.
the concept they took is from Star Citizen. It's exactly the same thing. You buy the ships, you know, how much is that?
$97, $90,
So
$33.
so Star Citizen ship basically had you buy the ships outright, you know, like just plain cash. This game is going to be utilizing your crypto wallet.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, in order to buy this ship, you have to get whatever. I forgot the currency that they have. They have their own coin. Um, it's not that expensive, not yet, but I think it's
But it
pretty.
should adds up, man.
But it adds up, right?
Because
More
nobody just
people
wants to
buy
buy one and just stay with one. You want to have
it,
them
right?
all. It's like Pokemon, you got to have them all.
And so these concepts of these ships, I mean, they look great, but they're very expensive. I mean, they go up to like 10 grand, 20 grand. Star Citizenship, the most expensive package they have in Star Citizenship is you get like the Legion pack or whatever, and it's about like $37,000. You get all the ships. So I mean, that's so.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the game is ever going to release. Honestly, I think they're going to go back and put it on the Unreal Engine because they're using the Crisis engine, the number one, and it sucked. Even though the engine was made for FPS, these guys are over at Star Citizen. They can't
Bro,
FPS.
USDC, there's something here, a collectible, and Toll, she is an anomaly tier.
Oh,
Not,
especially yeah, you're looking at it. Yeah, you're looking at the super exotic rare version of it or something.
bro, it just says 28,500 USDC. That's their currency. I don't know how much
Dude, buy it, dude.
how much is that shit, bro? That's insane.
Yeah, I don't
28,000.
know how much
I
it
don't know.
is,
I don't know how
but
much that might
I know
be,
the
but that's a lot.
I know the spaceships are really pricey. I don't know how much the characters are, but I know the spaceship can go up to like a good 10 grand, seven grand. I think the most expensive one is like 17 USD.
That's
Like regular
insane.
dollars. But I
That's
don't know how about the
insane.
characters. But then Star Citizenship did the same thing. You know that Star Citizenship. I mean, I don't know if you have time, but Star Citizenship, they sell their ships outright, but they're kicking themselves in the butt because they didn't went with that route with NFT. But their backers are finally figuring out that they don't think the game's ever going to be made. So their big whales is spend like 30. I think the most is like $60,000 for this capital ship. There's supposed to house like 80 players. Um, they don't see it hatched. I think it's called the Javelin. Looks cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the ships look great. I wish that they had a game like that, but it's not going to happen. So these guys, the Star Atlas folks, they're piggybacking off the Star Citizen hype,
Right.
and they're getting ready and they're marketing pretty hard. I mean, you see them a lot in the space community. People who are into ships and all that shit. So they're pushing hard, man, and they have a lot of backers apparently. I think I think one guy bought already like two big capital ships on there, NFTs. I think each one's like 80,000 bucks from shit.
That's crazy, dude.
Dude, buy one, man. Buy me one.
I can't afford this shit, man. Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. The site looks amazing, no doubt. But I mean, that's ridiculous, man. That's I don't know, man. But let's continue, man. So, speaking of which, why we feel gaming, shouldn't go the NFT route. These game developers are choosing to turn down NFT money, right? So we're going to go ahead and just start over here, right? The CEO of a game development studio. One developer who has refused opportunities to work on NFT games is the CEO of a studio that has provided engineering support for a number of well known games and also co developed a few games of their own. As CEO, he has personally handled a lot of business requests about NFTs. Well, he says that he's open to the idea of blockchain gaming while he's open to the idea of blockchain gaming being a viable gaming technology, he remains skeptical that they could offer any design benefits that would make up for the environmental costs, right? Because it does, right? That's something that is very, very heard of, right? That these things consume a lot of electricity, right? Just the fact that you want to go ahead and get this set up and all of that blockchain stuff consumes a lot of electricity. He also wants his studio to go carbon neutral, a desire which runs counter to the CPU intensive process of crypto technology. A lot of the technology seems like it could probably be solved by other, less destructive means. I can't speak for all game developers, but I think the stance of a lot of game devs is if there's a really interesting thing that can be done with NFTs and blockchain that makes better or more interesting or creative or new user experiences, then probably a lot more people would be more open to that. But right now, it just doesn't seem like most of the companies that are putting money into the space are actually solving any problems or creating any new experiences that couldn't just be done with other means. And that's true, right? With regards to the problems that we're talking about with, Diablo and Activision and, FIFA and NBA 2K, those problems are going to be there and they're going to be intensified with NFTs, right? It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, right? So they don't care. They're going to make money anyway, right? So why would they care? As long as people were willing to go and buy their product, the fuck do they care, right? They care about their bottom line and making their shareholders happy, and the quarterly metrics, right? That's what they care about. They don't care about anything else. Why would they, right? So the cryptocurrency proponents he's interacted with also don't inspire a ton of confidence in this studio lead. He felt that potential NFT clients didn't understand gaming and their proposals felt a little sketchy, and that makes sense because they're not in it for gaming. They're in it for the money, right? Obviously, these companies are in it for the money, even though they make games. You got to understand that people are interested in making money more than making, you know, legendary experiences, right? If you want to call it that way, or memorable experiences in interactive media, right? So I think a lot of investors don't have any clue what metaverse means either. And so they're all just dumping money into these companies of people who have developed blockchain or NFT related technologies. And then those blockchain companies realize, oh, we don't actually even know how to make video games. They just get the investment because it's got the word NFT on it. And they're like, oh shit, we have to actually go make this game now. And then they go and find out, and then they go out and find studios that can build it for them. And it kind of reminds me of what you were talking about with Star Citizen, right? And this other game, Star Atlas, right? Like, they put this out there with the NFT stuff, but where's the game, right? So,
Right, and those, man, let me tell you, man, those games been especially Star Citizen. That thing's been in production, dude. They It's the most highly expensive game. I mean, you thought like GTA was expensive? Nah, man. These guys hit $400 from backers,
that's
and
insane.
they even had that guy from Star Wars, the guy who plays Luke Skywalker. What's his name? Hannon, the guy who the
Oh,
Joker voice.
yeah, Mark Hamill.
Mark Hannon. Yeah, even Mark Hamill was in that fucking game, dude. And then they took him out because apparently the moped wasn't compatible with the Crisis engine. It just didn't look good, so they threw it away.
So they wasted all those
Like,
all those resources for nothing.
yeah, dude, it's just nuts. Like if you look into it, man, the whole shit is crazy. And if you go to read the forum, it's sad. Like a lot of these people, they want the game to happen, but they're like kind of borderline delusional. Like they know the writing's on the wall, man.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's like what it says here, right? There are all these technologies that people get excited about. Sometimes they do something cool, sometimes they solve a problem, and sometimes they're just bullshit. You don't really know until you have a certain amount of time that passes and it sticks or it doesn't. I don't know if NFTs are going to stick. And then, like, here, there was one time we had a group asking us for professional consulting on how to build a blockchain marketplace for people to buy and sell items across all the different games they play. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You can't just make a sword from World of Warcraft work in Final Fantasy, right? And then, you have them thinking about like a Ponzi scheme. It's just really messy, man. It really is. And it is definitely sketchy. Absolutely. And I don't know. I think like our guest play said, right, that you're gonna see this a lot in mobile games, right? Because it's more accessible to people, right? There's people that everybody has a smartphone, right? So it's not like you have to go buy a console or anything like that. You just download the app, free to play or whatever, and there you go, right? And mind you, a lot of these games these days super popular, right? Especially games that are made by Tencent, right? That Chinese company, right? I can assure you that they're definitely going to be involved in this stuff, and they're going to make a killing. And they understand that platform. It's really mostly their platform, right? And it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be really, really messy. And I think a lot of people are going to lose money. I think a lot of people are going to lose money in that sense because they're investing money in something that you know has interest but it doesn't have the support that it needs, right? Because now you just have a bunch of indie companies or whatever, or mobile companies that they're geared towards a certain type of user, right? And that user isn't really what we would call a gamer, so to speak, right? So after a while, they're just gonna be like, "Ah, fuck this shit," you know. So I don't know. I just think it's a big mess. But this article is it's really long, as you can see here. So if anybody's interested, like I said, that's gonna be there, right? And then we're gonna continue on. This is an article from March, right? NFTs may fail in gaming, at least at first. You know, they talk about, back with Overwatch, right? Back in 2015, and how that was a problem with loot boxes and things like that. It talks about what are NFTs, a lot of different stuff, right? So here you have a little section where it says, okay, so how can NFTs apply to the gaming industry? So this is practically what we want to see, right? Here's where things get interesting. Think of our example above of individuals being able to claim ownership of original digital items. What if players had the same kind of ownership to in-game items of extreme rarity or difficult to obtain? For this system to have merit, players need to have full control of their NFTs, otherwise they have no value. Unique or extremely limited stamped items could be held and owned by players. Think of something extremely limited tied to in-game events and challenges. Game devs, feel free to copy any of these ideas. I would love to see some of them implemented in a game. So as you see, right, an item is given as a reward to the group who is the first to clear the new raid. 1,000 players who participate in an event gain a special reward. Title cards, weapon item, or character skins of increased rarity, cost, or importance. NFTs tied to long living live service games like Destiny, which is a piece of shit game. So fuck that game. I can definitely see Destiny going the NFT route, by the way. Yeah, it's just that, like, we're talking about, like, even with see, look, perfect example. Look, Diablo 3. Just like I was gonna go ahead and start discussing what we see with D2JSP, right? Looking to the past to look to the future. Largely regarded as a disaster, the real money auction house that shipped with Diablo 3 ended up being a total failure, but illustrates one of the very first real world examples of a player driven economy with real world financial impact. Diablo 3 was the first video game I played that carried a tax implication on my financial bottom line, and that was cool. I was most of the way through high school when Diablo 3 released, and I made over $200 of cold hard cash selling items in Blizzard's real money auction house. I even had a dedicated character geared with Magic Find to up my chances of finding items worth selling. So why did the auction house fail? First, the appeal of action RPG genre is a grind. You complete harder and harder content to find marginally better gear to help you do even harder content faster. The mechanics and content loops decide the fun and sense of achievement you get as a player by progressing through the game. As it turned out, the best way to get the best gear you needed was to buy it for cash. Right. And remember, we said that the maximum I ever remember seeing it was $250. I'm not sure, what does this say? This is $135 for a blue item, an exquisite essence. This is garbage.
Yeah, it was like $250 the max and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so as it turned out, the best way. Okay, Blizzard earned a Blizzard earned a cut of the action on each sale on the auction house, of course, but players were still making real money. But what happens to the appeal of the game when there is no chase item left for your build? How can casual players compete in ranked or ladder play when other players can simply buy the best equipment and they can't? These issues were compounded by the fact that Diablo 3 gear used to drop with every stat in the game. With every stat in the game, even stats that had no impact on certain character classes. Intelligence dropping on your barbarian specific axe, you're out of luck, pal. Go kill more monsters and hope you don't roll another shitty battle axe. Diablo 3's real-world auction house was a massive failure, and Blizzard ended up pulling the plug and turning the game around for the better. But this innovative and absolutely wild system of Diablo 3 paved the way to iterate and improve on the formula in some ways. World of Warcraft's WoW token is a perfect example of Blizzard learning from its failure. Players can purchase WoW tokens to sell to other players in the game for the current market price in gold. My biggest gripe with the system is that players who generate enough gold to reliably obtain the tokens have no way of turning them into real cash. Only game time or battle.net account balances for other digital purchases with Activision Blizzard. In my time in World of Warcraft Legion, I was making enough gold through crafting and gaming auction house commodities to buy 3 WoW tokens every hour. But I had no way of cashing them for anything other than Battle.net account balance, and I could only buy so many Overwatch loot boxes. If players once again gain the ability to get a cut of the action paid out via PayPal, this system will be cooking with gas. It's a step in the right direction, but NFTs can take things so much further in giving their owners true control over their assets. EVE Online has run a much tighter real world money economy for years. I find new articles on my Discover feeds about massively expensive battles between giant player run alliances all the time. Like this absolutely massive battle involving ships worth more than $1 million of real world value. From my research, the real world money currency of EVE Online is typically well regarded amongst its community of players. NFTs would take things a step further in building out some impressive capabilities for the economy, all while giving players even more control of their valuable assets. So yeah, I mean, even this shit gives you an example, right? The Diablo example, and it's something that we see now today with the remaster of Diablo 2. It's brought that back to the forefront, right? Because you have all of these streamers, right, that make money from streaming, and what do? They go onto these sites, right? Maybe they have people helping them that are grinding the game and just trade them the item that they need because they like them, or they're part of their clan or whatever. And then they go on to, third party sites like D2JSP, sell them, buy better gear so they can stream it, right? And show off their gear and create more fans, right? I mean, that happens all the time, right? Seth?
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen that, right? You've seen that. That's pretty much what it is, right? These guys are going onto these sites, buying the gear, and then just going on their stream to show it off.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what they do, right? They'll go around and hey man, if you use my word, my what is it, my tag word or whatever, you get 30% off on your next purchase on JSP. Isn't that
Yeah,
how it goes, right? You get a
probably.
discount tokens.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely that's basically what it goes down. They get the best, the best best in the slot gear. And then they go farm, and then they'll complain how broken the game is, even though they have the best gear.
right, right. And they're the ones that want all of these changes done, right? And it's like they say, right? They don't want other people to have the gear. They want to be the ones with the gear.
Yeah, it's definitely, this mindset has been for a long time. It's always been happening, especially in Diablo 2, especially when the OG Diablo, people wanted to have this like exclusive privilege to have certain items, and they didn't want other people to have it. And that's the reason why they increased the prices. Like, for example, what was a good one? It was like the Last Wish. The Last Wish was not available for this game, to buy because the rooms were so damn expensive. It went over how much was it? I asked, dude. I have a friend who's he's really into selling items, especially on JSP,
Mm-hmm.
and he keeps me up to date with some of the values of prices and stuff. And I remember when I asked him for the Last Wish, the dude told me like it was almost close to like $3,000 back then. Though when the game just came out, the remaster thing of now, it was like almost $3,000 because of the room words.
Right.
But now you can kind of almost acquire it because it's still expensive, but it's more accessible now because the value of all the stuff is dropping down due to the changes that are going to happen in the game on the next patch.
Yeah, I mean, even there were people selling their characters for how much, like 12,000, 13,000 forum gold, which is like $3,000.
Yeah, perfect. Paladin was like $15,000
Dude, that's
with
insane.
best items. Yeah, best slot items. It was like $15,000 for
That's
for
insane.
Hammerton.
That's insane, man. So, we still have a lot of articles to get through, but it's really just going to be, emphasizing the same points we've been making, right? That this shit sucks. We don't want it. It's more bullshit. Of course, as we read before, Capcom was also getting involved, but it's a little bit different, right? They have what you see on screen, right? These cards, right? The Street Fighter cards, right? This is what they have here. But this has been going. Street Fighter has been doing this for a long time already. Actually, I think it's since like 2018, probably 2019. They've been doing it. But this is something that's not going away anytime soon, man. Like as you see on the screen, these are the biggest NFT games, right? Battle of Guardians, Idle Cyber, Axie Infinity, Gods Unchained, Crypto Kitties, Illuvium, the Sandbox. It's those sort of games, right? Maybe games like Hearthstone, right? Games like Hearthstone would definitely benefit from NFT, right? All those sort of card games, Magic and shit like that, right? So, like I said, I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon, like going any away. But it's definitely got a lot of fucking gray area, because even like our friend said, right? Find somebody to regulate it, but then if you find somebody to regulate it, it kind of defeats the purpose of it being a crypto, right? So I don't know. I don't know. As you see here on screen, ex Activision Lucasfilms developers announced new open world game with NFTs. Like this is the push, man. And you've been saying it for a while. You've been saying it for a while. Peter Molyneux, the guy that was in Rare, that helped create Fable. He's working on an NFT game. You know, Ubisoft, as you see here, with the 600 hours right of Ghost Recon to get a stupid mask. Nah, and then Ubisoft says that NFTs are just a beginning. It's happening. I don't know, man. I don't know, Seth. I'm gonna go ahead and end it off right here. I'm actually gonna end it off on your NFT. So if anybody's interested in, buying Seth's NFTs, go for it. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description if anyone is interested in buying Sephiroth's NFTs. But we've been here for a little over an hour and a half. I think honestly, even though we breezed through most of the articles, I just think that we already discussed in fair good detail NFTs and how we think about them or what we think about them in terms of gaming. So we're gonna go ahead and at least end it off here, Seth. But before we do that, what do you want to say to close out the show with regards to this topic? Because it definitely is, a really popular one, right?
Mm.
It's being, you know, addressed, through many news outlets, right? Gaming news outlets, in the last few months, especially this year, but in the last few weeks, we've seen a lot, right? We have seen a lot. What do you got to say, man? What do you think?
Well, remember we talked about this like 2 years ago, man. Because during that conference, remember I told you about like there was this big push with this unknown company that was pushing it to all these big dogs, and all these big dogs were like really getting a hard on because of it. And then here comes 2022, and they're all going to push the crypto stuff in the game. But again, I think it goes both ways. I mean, this can be used for a good thing, or it can be used for a bad. And we all know the trends of these companies. They're a business and they're here to make money. Kind of like they have to please their investors, and because investors want to see they want to see their earnings rise up, especially if they put money into the game. And I can see that more and more companies are going to try to jump on the bandwagon, but that's also going to increase the high risk, because you're going to imagine you see this awesome project and you want to get involved. You put 10 grand in and then it just disappears.
Right.
And a good example is Star Citizen.
Right.
$400 million, man, and they still in alpha. And you die in the game if you bump your head by accident. Like you can be walking your character and he hits his head and he just dies, and then you lose all your items. Oh, that's the other thing. See, don't even get me started. Your pay.
No, go ahead, bro. This is your final remarks. So go ahead and let it out.
Imagine like a game like Star Citizen. You bought all these items, and this is fact. You can buy like exclusive items, exclusive guns, like gold-plated skin. It's expensive, so you buy it, and if you die in the game, you lose it. You lose all your NFTs. Now what?
Shit.
You die because they can loot your body because your body will stay there. And then when you start, they put you through all this whole stupid medical thing. You have to lay in bed, and someone has to cure you. Hell, if you're in another planet, someone has to go get you. They have to go get your body. So you got to like press a little button or some shit, and some guy comes in his ship and rescue you and puts you in a stretcher. I'm not even kidding. And he takes you, and then you spawn in this hospital, and then they have to die. So when all this is happening, there's somebody over there that's, oh, what's this? This body has shiny armor. I'm gonna take this shit. I'll take this. So for a while, people weren't rocking their expensive gear because they feared that if they hit their head while they're going down the steps or they trip, they'll lose their shit. But then Robert, that's the guy's name, the owner of this stupid game, Robert Industries. They came out and they kind of try to fix it, saying, "Oh no, you'll lose it, but you can get it back. You know, you go to a store and you can repurchase them for
Oh,
the game currency."
you have to repurchase it.
Yeah, yeah, you have to
No.
rebuy it again, right? But it's with the game currency, which you can either buy it or you can grind for it by doing stupid missions, cargo missions or some shit. But just, again, it can go in a good way, like helping small developers, put out their digital goods, like kind of like GTA, if some guy busts out, he's into planes and he should put models of planes in GTA and people, they're like awesome looking things. I'll buy it if I can, utilize this and then kill people in the game. And,
Yeah, in the game.
in the game and do cargo missions or whatever in that, whatever, fine, that's cool. But if the company's going to utilize it, they're gonna butcher it up, man, like pretty bad. Kind of like, for example, like you said, like the Ubisoft thing, like how long it would take me to get this item? 600 to 1,000 hours? Yeah, I don't think so. How long would that, how much time do I have to play? Not much. So
Right.
you're never gonna get it,
And
especially if it gives you a benefit. It gives you an edge, and
right.
that's the thing with citizenship, man. Like, you want the best ship, better fork out the money, man. And the best ship is 1,200, 1,300. It's called a Hercules because you can put a whole tank in it. So you can go land and bust out your tank and start blowing shit up.
And not just that, right? Also, these companies, especially the ones that we discussed, right? EA, Ubisoft, Activision, they release a lot of games that are broken.
Yeah, exactly, right. You're putting money into a broken ass product,
It's a glitch fest where there's so many bugs, especially Ubisoft. Ubisoft is fucking famous for that shit. And so is EA, right? Especially with their sports games, right? Activision, well, I mean, let's not talk about Activision right now, especially with what happened with Call of Duty in that last patch. Can you imagine, them trying to sell you and push NFTs on you and then releasing a patch that breaks the fucking game? It's
You
ridiculous,
lose your
man.
guns.
Yeah,
Yeah, you spend $200 for a gun or 1,000, right? Because it's inflated price value.
Uh-huh.
Well, how can I get it back? Well, I don't know. The token disappeared.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to probably have a backup, or maybe there's an insurance plan. Oh, and that's the thing too. See, again, I keep bringing Star Citizenship because they've been doing this for a long time already, also, but with real cash. So, and they have an insurance program. You have to insure your ship.
That's
if your
insane.
ship blows up, you lose it. You got to rebuy it. So, but if you have a lifetime insurance, you can get it back, but without the mods. So if you upgraded your engine, your shields, and everything, that's out the window. You just lost, I don't know, hundreds of dollars in it, but they'll give you back your ship.
See, that's the thing,
so you
right?
gotta buy insurance.
Yeah, that's the thing. So they're gonna hustle you for that also now. And then of course, like I said, these companies, right, releasing these games that aren't even fully completed, right? They're still bug infested, glitchy, and you want to push an NFT you want to push an NFT on me on your game that you didn't even finish developing. How does that work? You understand? So, that's real touchy subject. I think it's irresponsible, honestly, right? When it comes to these companies releasing broken games and now trying to push an NFT on you so they can make more money, right? Because like you said, they'll get a cut from each transaction, right? So you're gonna make more money on top of releasing a broken game for full price, and then dragging it out as to see whenever you're gonna go ahead and release an update or whatever that hopefully doesn't break the game. And then on top of that, you're gonna push this shit on me and make more money off of me. That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Again, I think definitely there's room for good stuff that can be done. I think definitely it can definitely do a lot of good, but knowing how the track record for these companies and their mindset and their philosophy of how they want to lack of better word, screw people over so they can squeeze them the money out of you. They're gonna go with the bad route. They're gonna go black hat. They're always gonna go black hat. There's nothing you can do about it. And the only way you can fight back is with your wallet. You just don't buy
it. Exactly. So, they are going to do that. They are going to do the black hat route. They always have. Well, why would they stop now?
Right, because they're a business, and it's sad, but they're a business, and they're there to make money. Of course they want to have the user experience to be happy and to keep bringing back people. But in the end of the day, it's like how they do it. That's what matters. I think how they pursue
Right.
this goal of how to get our money.
Right. And they can always worry about that later. They can release the game now, broken as it is,
Mhm.
get the sales, meet the demands of the
Mhm.
shareholders, right? Reach the
Yep.
the bottom line they need to reach for that particular uh, quarter, right? And then we'll fix this later, But
Mhm.
let's get this money now. Let's go ahead and push this out, and we'll fix this. Don't worry, but we're not gonna fix it now.
Right.
Give us
That
a few months, and we'll fix it.
the video for that robot one covers all that. I mean, this guy was so transparent because he's teaching other developers how they do it, and he even explains the idea of the loot box, like the trends, like what they experimented, and and pretty much that concept is what's now in Call of Duty.
Right.
So imagine, some developer from Activision or whatever Call of Duty was there listening to this shit, because this presentation is I mean, it goes further back. I mean, this video is the one that's posted, uploaded, because they keep taking it down. So it goes way back. So there was a developer saying that, man, this is a great idea. This is a great concept. So they go and they they put it out in the wild, and not, here we are. This is what we have now. So it's an interesting video. I mean, you guys, check it out when you guys have time. It's very interesting. It does open a lot of a lot of the whole thing that goes in the background. Instead of the guesswork, saying blaming the developer or the whatever. In the end of the day, it's pretty much all of them. They're all they're all. What's the best way I can put it? They're all in the same issue. They're the ones who created it. It's not the poor developer or whatever. They're all in the same pot.
Right. They're all fighting for our money.
They're all fighting for the money, right? So But anyway, that's what hopefully goes the right way, man. And yeah, man.
Yeah, because I know this is something you've been wanting to discuss for a while, and I'm glad that we did, because I think we gave some fair points, fair analysis on our opinions, right? And what we've read and our own experiences of previous games. And yeah, I think that NFTs in gaming is a bad idea for these reasons that we gave: corporate greed, user greed.
For now, right?
For now.
For now. Yeah.
And a perfect example, like we just keep repeating, is Diablo. It really kind of has that there with its own economy in a particular site. And if you try to trade for something in the game, everybody's using that metric in that website as
Right. Yep.
a standard. So you're asked out.
Yeah, that's the one complaint they have on the forums for Diablo, is that who puts a value on this rune, and the value actually is being dictated by JSP.
Exactly.
So it's like someone wants for example, they want what was it, a Zod rune, and it makes your item indestructible. So how much is that? And back then it was I forgot how much they were trading it for back then, but it wasn't that much. But now for a Zod they want to burr some crazy runes just to get a Zod, and that's crazy unless you want to buy it outright with cash.
And there really isn't much you can make with a Zod anyway.
Yeah, it's like I think one or two items. I think honestly.
And they're not the best either, right?
I think the Exile for the shield for the Paladin.
That's about it.
One of them. The one you have to get a what do you call it? What do you call it when you can't fix the stupid item?
Ethereal.
Oh, Ethereal. Okay, so it's that shit. And then you make an Exile, and it always repairs itself, and it gets crazy damage. It gets like 1,000 something, 800 to 1,000, depending on the enhancement defense perk. But that's about it. I mean, that's the only one that I know for. Maybe there's another one, but everybody only uses it for that shit.
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh, also, if you have an ethereal Zakarum shield, if you get like a perfect Zakaru shield, this Ethereum, then you socket it and you put a Zod, so then it becomes indestructible. Or else it's gonna break.
Yeah,
that's about it.
So it's the same. It's the same concept, really. It's already happening. It's been happening, but now these companies want to find a way to make that money, right? Because companies like Activision Blizzard are losing money from people going to JSP, right? Because they're not getting any money from these items being traded or purchased, right? But now if they make it an NFT, there goes JSP. I mean, JSP might even, well, I don't know if it'll even still exist or not, right? But there that goes, right? Because now, that money is going to Activision, a cut of it. And even
Mhm.
though you sell items on D2JSP, you can't withdraw that gold, right? So it just stays there, right? And it's just dead, really, because you can't use it on anything else, So in a way, it's
Warframe does the same thing too. Someone mentioned in your chat also, and they're
yeah,
correct.
they did.
Warframe does that. When you trade the item, like if it's a high, like rare item, so or some what is it? What are those stupid cards called? The ones they're really rare. Those mods. I forgot what the fuck. I haven't played that game in a long time, but it's not the gold ones. It's a higher one, and
Hmm.
to trade them, I think it's like 90. What is it, like 90,000 of the currency for the game just to do this? It's like a tax. It's like a
Hmm.
trading tax, and it costs a lot. It's not fun, stupid, and you
Yeah,
have in. But then you lose that money and it goes into a sinkhole. Who gets it? Nobody does. It just disappears. It's just a sell tax.
right. And
It's just dumb.
and even if you sell these items, like especially in JSP, like you can't get anything out of it. So you're only doing this to boost your character, make the best character you can. But even if you sell your character and all the time and money you invested in it, you don't get anything back in return for it, right? So and neither does Activision, right? So that's another reason why these companies want to get involved, because they know that there's third party sites out there and things like that that delve into this sort of market, right? And so that's an opportunity for them to make money, and they'll probably keep putting out shit games, broken games, and shove the shit down your throat so they can make more money, right? But you know, we'll have to see, right? Maybe like our guest said, shout out to Play. Maybe they'll just be on mobile devices, and I think that makes a lot of sense too, right? Because I really don't see NFTs being as welcomed mainstream console. I really don't see that happening. And then with Steam being completely against it, that completely erases the PC market for the most part. So
Well, you have Windows 11 that's going to allow you to play Android games on your PC.
that's going to be a problem then.
So Windows 11 lets you do that. That's one of their like highlights. They're like, oh, you can play your Android games on here. You never know. What can happen from there, from that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, but for getting to console, yeah, I think with console it gets more with legal stuff.
Hmm.
Um, legal rights, who owns this, who owns that. But I think until they make their own currency, I think then maybe that will open their doors once they create their own currency.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's like
So
COD points, man. You gotta get those COD points.
yeah, fuck that shit, bro. But that's gonna do it for now, Seth. Thank you
I'm
so
good.
much for joining me right on today's show. Of course, next week is Christmas, the 25th. If you're available, I know I probably will be available, but if you're available, we can probably do another stream. Maybe play something. I don't know. Just let me know.
Play Halo. Yeah.
Maybe we'll play Halo for Christmas. Maybe they'll have an event. I think so. We'll see. Right. So, Seth, thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Right. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. Hit that like button. And yeah, this has been Aliens for Gotta Be Legend, Gotta Be Legend TV. This has been a Gamer's Opinion, episode 11, in regards to NFTs, right? Why NFTs in video games is a bad idea. This has been Aliens. Everyone have a good night, and we'll talk soon. Peace.